Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Nerdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna make magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. You know that she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the goat, talking about animation cause you know. Odie, she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Nerdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Nerdy, ooh. Black and Nerdy, yeah. Black and Nerdy.
Welcome to another episode of the Black and Nerdy podcast, the only podcast where two sexy nerds come together and shoot the shit. I, of course, am I'm Mo, aka Kid Licorice. You will think that I've been doing this long enough that I would know my goddamn name.
You would. You
Yes,
would think.
But yeah, I am Mo, aka Kid Licorice.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snurds here for episode 102 of the podcast. You know we have the air horn, right?
I know, but I like doing the air horn.
All right, that's fair. That's fair enough. Okay. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
I am feeling good, feeling great, feeling great, feeling good. You know, it's been a wild weekend.
Yes.
As you know, if you're watching this or listening to this, first off, thank you. Like and subscribe, give us comments, feedback, and all that other good juicy nonsense. But if you are watching this, we actually recorded a bonus episode with my father, so shout out to him. And
M1.
yes, you said
M1.
yes, M1. And it was this has just been a very good weekend, a very nice chill weekend.
Your dad came here for his birthday. We had dinner on Friday, and then we went out to dinner yesterday on Saturday. So it's been a very busy, active, fun, family-filled weekend, which was great.
Yes, it has been very active. Like, I would say one of the more active weekends I've had in quite a while. Well, that's a lie because
we've been pretty active
the last few weekends. I actually think now we need to maybe spend some time not being as fucking active.
That would be nice, but I do not see that happening.
You don't see that happening at all?
Because I just, not to say like I wouldn't want to, but I just feel like from once April hits, it feels like it's like another thing after another thing.
Well, you don't have any chill at all anyway in your body. So like this, you don't understand the or appreciate the downtime. So,
I have all the downtime in the world.
I know you don't appreciate it though. You scrambling to find something to fill the void and go out and do something or hang out with Wanji or whatever.
I want to see my friends. I haven't gotten to see them that often.
All right. Well,
You know?
it makes you a good friend.
I try.
Yeah. But you know what? How about we slide on to our pop culture segment? How's that sound?
Sure. So we're gonna kick things off this week with something we were gonna talk about last week, but we ran out of time.
Yes.
But it was big enough, impactful enough that we couldn't not talk about it.
Right.
WrestleMania 40.
Yes, WrestleMania XL. Is XL 40?
Well, it was during WrestleMania XL.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's only at a certain point I stopped learning Roman numerals.
At a certain point, it just got too difficult. Like I know them, but like after a certain amount, like I'm not.
Well, they stopped using the Roman numerals in the Rocky movies. That's the only reason why I stopped learning them, because like it was Rocky 5. Then I think after that was Balboa.
Oh,
was Balboa after Rocky 5?
Let me look.
Okay, while you're looking that up, yes, WrestleMania 2-night extravaganza, the biggest wrestling event of the season. Arguably, this has been one of the best WrestleManias. Now, we only watched the second night together. I watched the first night with Sam. Shout out to Sam.
Friend of the show. And Balboa, Rocky Balboa was the 6th movie.
Okay, yeah. See, Balboa, they stopped using Roman numerals.
Because people probably how many times can we call a movie the same title? You just switch it up.
I mean, it's not the same title. It's Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then Rocky Balboa, and then it's Creed and Creed 1 and 2. Are the Creed? Do we know if the Creeds are using the Roman numerals? We need to find this out.
They're not.
Stop doing everything. We need to find out if Creed is using the Roman numerals. Also, I realize I'm not looking at the camera.
You're not.
But WrestleMania.
Yes, so WrestleMania was similar to the Rocky story. We had a man with a plan to win a championship and take back what he felt was his rightful legacy against a huge, impactful, history making wrestler, Roman Reigns.
Now, to give you a little bit of context, Roman Reigns has been the Universal Champion for like 4 years. Yeah. Like legitimately in real time, he has been. And I've watched every single WrestleMania since he's won the championship, I think at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. And literally there was one with Edge and Bryan Danielson, and he just stacked them on top of each other. There was one with Brock Lesnar, which no more. We're done. We're done with Brock and Roman all together. Also, we're kind of done with Brock for other reasons too.
He had something happening with
you know.
Vince McMahon situation, or was that what it was? Was he named in that lawsuit?
He wasn't like specifically named, but he was inferred.
Okay.
He was definitely inferred.
I can't say I'm surprised. He looks like if I saw him on the street, I would turn the corner.
Well,
if you know, you know.
I would be worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Roman Reigns, of course, has long standing. How many matches was it? Like, I don't know, 800 or something years worth of matches.
Well, when you say matches or days, how many days?
Days.
How many days champion?
How many days was he the champion?
Oh, thousands. Like, or like I think 16,000.
Did he surpass? Was it?
He surpassed Hulk Hogan as like the third longest running world champion in WWE.
You know, Hulk Hogan was throwing some slurs at him last night.
Probably. I would not be surprised. And honestly, it's a good thing that we're done with Hulk Hogan and his fucking accomplishments.
Well, there's now a new Slim Jim man.
We can move it. Oh yeah, LA Knight.
Yeah. He wouldn't be saying the N-word on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Folks, where's the line?
But yeah, so Roman and Corey, or was it?
Oh my goodness,
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes. Now I want you to just sit here and recap WrestleMania for me.
Don't
give me the play-by-play of WrestleMania.
I can only give you the play-by-play of what I saw.
I'm gonna need you to tighten it up because we're gonna go back on
when we are on
the wrestling wrap
up. I will be as
shout out to wrestling wrap up.
Yes.
Mari and Matt, we love you.
I will be as learned as I can be.
Okay.
But yeah, so Cody Rhodes and Roman are going back and forth. Cody wants to finish his story. And I thought it was one of my favorite matches that I've seen, I think, all year. I mean, I've been waiting for this to happen. The Rock got in there, you know, I thought that was going to impact some things where the Roman and the Rock were maybe going to battle off, but then they got together a few weeks ago or months ago or whatever. And then Cody got his chance at the championship.
Yeah. And okay, so here's a little bit of more context for this. Last year, the year prior's WrestleMania, it was Roman versus Cody. And Cody lost. And his whole thing is he needs to finish the story. His father was Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes never was a world champion. He wants to win the championship for his family and finish the story as far as his family legacy is concerned, right?
Yeah.
This year was an overbooked mess, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It had Jimmy Uso coming out, and then Jey Uso beat the shit out of him. It had Solo coming out, and then John Cena beating the shit out of him. And of course, The Rock comes out, and then who comes out to fight The Rock? No, not Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Everybody wanted Stone Cold.
We all wanted Stone.
It was the Undertaker.
It was the Undertaker of all the people.
Which I thought was a great person.
No, he's good because, like, arguably before, quote unquote, The Rock was the final boss. Undertaker was the final boss.
Yeah.
But Cody was able to finish his story. He got the pin 1, 2, 3, and now he is the Universal Champion, or the Undisputed World Champion. I forget what the actual title of the championship is. He's the top dog.
Yeah.
And everybody, all the good guys poured out to like congratulate him and put him on shoulders and stuff.
Everyone that Roman has.
His mom was out there. His family, his
black stepdad.
His black stepdad and his black wife. Brandy, shout out to Brandy Rhodes. She's a treasure. And it was just a feel good moment.
Yeah.
Did you have any other highlights from WrestleMania?
Well,
from at least night 2 of WrestleMania?
I will say so. I didn't watch the match, but of course, I love the black girls. Jade Cargill.
Yes, that's one.
The EST Bianca Belair.
Yes.
And
the other.
No, because I don't see her often. What's her name?
Naomi.
Is it Naomi Banks?
No, it's just Naomi.
Naomi. Okay.
Oh, you're getting her mixed up with Sasha Banks.
Sasha
Banks is now Mercedes Moné in AEW.
But the three of them came out. Well, they had two. They came out first on
night 1.
Night 1.
Oh, they on SmackDown.
On SmackDown.
Yeah, you saw that.
I love that. And then they came out again. I loved how they had their just country Carter motif. At WrestleMania, every black person that I saw was dressed up in cowboy attire, and I was like, look at Beyonce's influence. It was the people who were singing like the national anthem.
We will just eat anything up that woman puts in front of us, won't
we will. Yes, we will.
Beyonce, I hope that Beyonce never uses her powers for evil.
Same, because everybody will be in trouble.
Oh yeah,
the Beehive will
be in trouble. Oh my goodness! Imagine if Beyonce was just like
turned into a villain,
turned into a mastermind. What if this was her? Yes, she turned into a heel. If this was just her long-term plan to become the ultimate villain.
Yeah.
But it's okay. No, we love Beyonce on this podcast.
And I would say one of my other favorite parts was when Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Won against
Seth Rollins.
Which I love Seth freaking Rollins. But I loved when Drew won against him, and then what's his name? Damian Priest, Senior Money in the Bank, comes out and wins. Cashes in finally cashes in, and then steals his championship. Because I'm like, if you're gonna beat my boo Seth freaking Rollins, I don't want you to keep this title for any longer than need be.
I did not realize that Seth freaking Rollins was your type.
Yeah, I love him.
Okay,
he's so look at his outfits. I've told you so many times.
He is the drip god.
He would be perfect in a JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
I will give you that. Seth Rollins, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Hollywood, make it happen. Yeah. You fucking cowards.
But yeah, I thought it was great. I think that everyone did a great job. Whether they did a great job winning, they did a great job losing. The matches were exciting, they were fun, and I wasn't bored.
Yes.
So really,
you were sports entertained, or you were pro wrestled.
Yes, I was pro wrestled. Did you have any highlights?
Oh, all the matches were a lot of fun. I especially cried a little bit for the Cody Rhodes match, because it's just like the guy came into WWE fresh and young. He hit a ceiling. He wasn't going to ever become a top guy. He left. He hit the indie scene. He he created AEW along with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
He, you know, worked his ass off and grinded, then came back to the WWE, and now like he's the guy, like the company. He's the guy that represents the company.
Yeah,
he's the ultimate babyface, and I just love his story overall. So like that's enough to make me well up with my manly tears scrolling down my cheek and onto my bosom.
Well, anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Well, speaking of other wrestlers who have created a narrative and a story for themselves, Batista.
Yes.
Who we know also, Dave Batista, who was in the not the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. And he played.
Well, he was in the Avengers movie.
Well, he was in the Avengers movie.
Infinity War and. Oh God, it's been so long since Marvel was good that I'm starting to forget the good movies. Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah.
And what is his name again? The Destroyer.
Drax.
Yeah, Drax the Destroyer.
Yes.
So he has joined the Avatar: Last Airbender's new movie that is going to be coming out in 2025. Along with Eric Nam, he is going to be a villain.
Now I'm not sure. I haven't read too much on this. I think what they're doing is creating a new story, and they're not going to be following the story of either Aang or Katara. I should say.
They said this is going to be standalone, but it is. The project is being worked on by the original series creators.
Of course, yes.
Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko.
Yeah, they were. And I hope that them being a part of the project means that we'll get a fully fleshed out story.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows, like, there's a reason why they left the live action adaptation, both the movie and the Netflix show. Because boy, oh boy. There's a thing called show don't tell.
Have you watched it?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think?
It's fine. It's better than the movie, but the movie was just really, really bad. So that's not really saying.
I think I might have walked out of the movie.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
There's this. Oh my goodness. Hold on. There's this one scene that I love where like it takes 5 earthbenders doing their choreography just to move this small ass slow moving boulder. It's so let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Well, you know, we are happy to see still making moves. He's talked about wanting to move away from his Marvel character and do new things. He was in another movie earlier last year, something about the end of the world. I didn't watch it, but it was
the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Which I did. I heard good things from people who watched it, but it just wasn't. I don't know if it came out in theaters, but it was definitely streaming.
Odie, look at this. I want you to look at this.
Okay.
This all of that, but it's so small. Sorry. I'm sorry that the live action listeners weren't able to watch what we just saw. Which is probably good because we probably would have gotten copyright stricken for that awful movie, fucking movie. But I hope that the idea that the creators are gonna be closely working with this movie fills me with hope that this is gonna be a really good movie.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait.
Me too. I think it's gonna be good. I'm a new Avatar fan.
Mm-hmm.
My little brother used to watch it a lot when he was younger, but I was like, he's 10 years younger than me, so he'd be watching it. I'd be like, oh, I want to watch it.
And then we watched it together, and then it turns out that it's a story that is good for kids and adults because it has mature themes.
And how I enjoy reading about like the metaphysical and all that. So like it has a lot. It's like the baby version of learning about like the chakras and all these different like astrology and metaphysics and the occult and all
the
that
elements and whatnot.
And I loved it. I thought it was a great story. I still have to finish Legends of Korra.
Core, not Couture. Sorry. Core.
But I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so moving on to a new series that has come out that has been getting so much
attention,
controversy, and a little bit of praise. Gerard Carmichael's new show on HBO called The Gerard Carmichael Reality Show.
Yeah.
Now
we've seen the first three episodes.
And I would say the first episode, the big talking point was Gerard tells us finally how he told his best friend he was in love with him, which was something he had spoken about before, but he finally reveals that it was Tyler, the Creator, someone who he's been friends with for a while.
Yeah.
He was on one of Tyler's albums. I think maybe was it 2017 album?
The Flower Boy album.
They've been close for a while, so he finally tells us that.
Mind you, the Flower Boy album is the album where Tyler revealed that he was like bi, that he dated women and men,
which was probably a big moment for both of them to work on this together, because Gerard was still like in the closet, and the conversation is very awkward because Gerard messages, or like he basically says he told him in text message, and Tyler's response was like, "You stupid bitch."
You stupid bitch.
Like months to a year later or something, Gerard's like, "I'm doing the show. I want to talk to you about this on camera." And it's a very awkward exchange. And
first off, it's awkward not just because of the actual scenario and situation. Tyler, the Creator, is the biggest fucking troll out there.
Yeah.
He is the worst person to fall in love with.
Yeah.
No offense to Tyler. Like, he's a lovable dude. I've never met him in person before. I would love to meet him and hang out with him. He seems fucking cool. But, like, he's a fucking troll. He's always been a troll online.
Yeah.
He trolls, like, through his music and shit. And the idea that he would have a mature conversation about his feelings is ridiculous in the grand scheme of things.
But it brought up conversations about like colorism and anti-blackness in dating.
What, the conversation or the show?
That episode, but also the conversation.
Sure.
Because when people were honing in on Tyler saying to Gerard, "Well, you're like a brother," and how in the Black queer community, a lot of times we see in media and also in real life how a lot of times when we see Black gay or lesbian or gay Black queer couples, they're usually interracial.
Sure.
And looking at Tyler and Gerard's dating histories that people know of, they seem to only have been connected with like white or Latinx men,
spicy white,
white or spicy white, and there doesn't seem to be any like Black love interest. And they thought, people were saying how it was just so interesting that these two Black men who both generally do not date any other Black men would be having this conversation. And then Gerard's basically like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to go back to fucking white twinks." And that's
using this boy butter to fuck these white twinks.
Direct quote.
Yes.
And so I think it was very interesting. I think that did bring up a conversation that is important. Because one, there are a lot of Black queer couples who are in Black relationships. Like in my own family, plenty of Black queer in our own sphere.
And shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are.
We know of many Black queer relationships, but we don't see them on TV usually. It's very like, I feel like we
see a lot of white guys with white guys, but we don't see a lot of Black men with Black men.
Yes, and so
which is another reason why The Wire is one of the greatest shows of all time. You should watch it because Michael K. Williams plays an openly gay man who's dating these other like Black men and whatnot on the show.
And that's two movies he played. Shows he played. Black
because of
Lovecraft
Country. Look, shout out to the late great Michael K. Williams. You know, but the beef has been settled.
So I think that it brought that
If you know, you know.
Definitely brought up a great conversation to have, like a much longer conversation that I don't think many people outside of the Black queer community have really thought about or talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next episode talked about his possible sex addiction and this new relationship he has with his boyfriend that's long distance, that he does not seem to be able to keep himself from cheating.
Yes.
And it is I think that it went into his trauma. I think that he needs therapy. Because he's mentioned when they were one of the therapists he went to see about this like overwhelming need for sex. So he told them that he started being sexual like 3 or 4 with older people, like older kids.
Right.
And so I'm like, there's so much to unpack about this, not just about the secret sex or the secret sexual relationships being in the closet, but like what sexual trauma you are trying to unpack with the people that you are constantly like leaning on for this affection.
Yeah, because like because there was a quote from this meeting that we went to like last year where the guy was explaining like it was like a convention where he was explaining like sex and consent and everything like that, and he basically stated that like all sex is tied to some form of trauma in some way. So like the idea that like, you know, like we have these sexual experiences and you know, there is some form of trauma. We should be, you know, mindful of that when we are engaging with other people.
Yeah.
And this show is very revealing in that Gerard Carmichael openly admits that he's a late bloomer. He came out of the closet late in life. So what we're seeing is a gay man embracing himself, but going to the extreme because he's making up for lost time.
Yeah,
essentially. And unfortunately, that doesn't mesh well with this idea of monogamy that he, you know, has probably ingrained into him by society.
Very heteronormative. You need
stuff.
to be,
because I'm up here watching it and I'm just like, I'm sure you could find a dude who's open to like just polyamory.
Yeah,
it's not that. Turns out our generation is dope as fuck when it comes to polyamory and shit and being open and whatnot. Just have that conversation.
Just find the person,
find somebody
that is matching what you want.
Yes,
and you will not have to go. I mean, he'll still have to work on, even if he was in a poly relationship.
Yeah,
he would still have to work on his honesty and communication.
Oh, for sure.
I think that is
terrible at communicating.
That is never going to go away.
Terrible.
But I think this goes into, the next episode about his terrible like communication skills
with his friends.
But someone in the first episode, one of his friends who didn't want to be shown on camera, so he was wearing like a Daft Punk thing, was like, this was a masturbatory endeavor because this is not real life. You are editing this down to show these little bite-sized pieces, but even within these bite-sized pieces, we're seeing how, for whatever reason in his life, he's not just pushing away his romantic partners, but also his family and friends. Yeah. Like it opens up with him missing his best friend from childhood's wedding, where he was the best man, because one, he didn't get the suit that they wanted because it wasn't Tom Ford. And he wanted a Tom Ford suit. He didn't get the right color shirt because he didn't go to the place, and then he had to go to the place, go try to get another shirt for whatever reason. Doesn't get the shirt, and then gets a hot dog.
Yeah.
And he's like, the hot dog is the most important thing for me right now. And then he's an hour late to the wedding, misses it, and his best friend doesn't talk to him for like, you could assume a couple months to a year.
Yeah. For an extended amount of time. And honestly, I wouldn't talk to this motherfucker ever again. Like, if I got married and my best friend pulled some shit like that, like, he'd be dead to me.
Because it's just like,
why? He wouldn't even be in the photos. Like, at least let Jericho be in the photos at the very end. But boy, oh boy, he would not be in any of my photos.
It showed how he was very selfish. Mm-hmm. And then you see how one of his other best friends, who we've seen throughout the series, she comes up to New York, is moving there because she wants to pursue acting. Mm-hmm. And she's like living with him, and at first like it's all cool, they're having fun, but then you start seeing there's a little bit of wrinkles in what Gerard wants to accept anymore, and he's kind of like cooling on this new my bestie is here, and he starts putting her through all these kind of just like Hunger Games trials, like getting her an apartment, but only getting in the apartment, surprising her with an apartment. She didn't ask for it, but moves her out of his place, gets her an apartment, and is like, okay, this is yours, but then doesn't
let her know that it's only for a month.
Like, why would you just tell her we can't live together anymore? It's not going to be good for our friendship. Can we find something else to do?
Shit at communicating. He's shit at it. That's the premise of this whole show is poor communications plus gay sex, the show.
But I will say that however, I don't know how long, like what the time frame for each episode is that they're doing, but within the few, who knows, weeks, months, or whatever, he does take some introspection and starts realizing because he talks to his boyfriend where he's failing, and starts doing like an apology tour with his different friends, and you hear them cursing him out for being an asshole. One of them was like, "You're not even an A-list actor."
Yeah, you're not even an A-list celebrity.
Ooh,
that's spicy.
That hurt.
One person was like, "Nobody will break your heart more than a gay man," and that's big facts.
You know, and
that is big facts.
I think,
folks, where's the line?
Towards the end of the episode, he makes amends with his best friend whose wedding he missed. He tries to make amends with his best friend by getting her, some casting calls and things like that. But it definitely was a interesting foray into the mind of this black man.
Yeah,
but I love the show.
I'm honestly looking forward to continuing this saga and watching it.
Well, real quickly, before I know we're going to go to our next segment.
Yes.
But do you want to know something that I am not going to be looking forward to continuing?
What is this?
The Good Times Black Again animated series.
Right. We watched the first episode.
Watched it.
I to be fair, I tried watching it by myself and I turned it off immediately, with the first scene being a black man singing the Good Times theme song to a roach who was also singing the Good Times theme song.
And it's like Good Times is one of those shows, like, we know it was the first black show to
landmark
parent household,
yes,
working family, like trying to get out of the projects and make a better life for themselves. Very iconic black show.
Yeah. Norman Lear created.
Well, he created this one as well, and so did Seth MacFarlane's working on it, and a list of other black names, which I was very surprised were working on it.
I'm torn on the show because on the one hand, like, there's a bunch of great black actors. You got
Marsai Martin,
Yvette Nicole Brown, JB Smoove, Jay Farrow, Gary Anthony something. The guy, Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks. He's on the show as well. And you have so many, and you have great black writers. I looked up on IMDb and the show is written by black people. You have all this black talent, and on the one hand, I don't want to take away black talent, and I think that there is a myriad of stories that could be told within the black diaspora, from good to bad and everything in between. Having said all of that, this show is horseshit.
Yeah,
this show is terrible.
Yes.
It is garbage. It is all of the worst stereotypes you could possibly imagine, to the point where I thought that there was only white writers. I don't know what's worse. Is it worse that I thought that there was white writers doing what they imagine black people to be, or if it's from black people who are writing this stuff and creating it?
I mean,
which is worse?
I think that it's worse when it's like black people creating something that they think a certain subset of black people are. Because to me, that's like worse than a white person doing it. Because it's like you're imagining what white people how white people see these kinds of people, and you're putting in your own respectability and your own negativity on there. I mean,
the baby is a drug dealer.
That's
a Dave Chappelle bit.
And even Bernadette Stanis, who was on the original sitcom, she was the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She said that they had initially said like that she and Jimmy, who was I believe JJ, Jimmy Walker, had contacted Netflix or contacted Norman Lear in 2020 and wanted to do a cartoon.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, they didn't hear back from them. And then months later, they heard that there was something coming, but they were never a part of it. They were like, oh, it's going to be progressive. It's going to be years later. Maybe we could find y'all a part in it. And that was not true because it's definitely not progressive.
There's nothing progressive about this
and it's
shit.
not even to me like
There's nothing progressive.
It's not even like, oh, we shouldn't be showing Black people in the projects. Like it just was terrible. Like there's so many things that they could have done and they chose not to. So I'm not going to. I don't even know what the rest of the show is going to do. It could possibly,
dude.
Get better.
The second episode opens with the baby, getting its diaper changed by the mom, and the mom is like, don't forget your chopper, the gun. I'm like, if you don't get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm never watching this again.
I'm not watching.
I lost brains.
1 out of 5 snurds.
No, a -5. We've never given a negative number.
Yeah.
-5.
No.
So we're done with our pop section. And I think that we actually need to go into this next section because Good Times did a number on my mental health.
Yes.
We'll go into our mental health check-in because we are advocates,
not experts when it comes to mental health.
And we always want to check in with each other, see how we're doing, see how things are shaking, and talk about some mental health stories that may or may not pop up from week to week.
Yeah.
So you let me know, how has your mental health been?
My mental health has actually been not the greatest. I am currently taking my medication actively and readily every single day, including the weekends. There was times when I was just like, I'll just take it during the weekday, but no, I need that shit on the weekends as well. It's going well, I would say, for the most part. I have this job that fills me with a sense, by and large, like for the most part, everything with the job is fine.
Yeah.
Like the people are nice. My coworkers are nice. My direct reports are cool. My boss is dope as hell. Like every aspect of the job is, for the most part, very chill and low key.
Yeah.
With the very minor exception of these, I can't explain them without giving away information about my job, but like, let's just say this particular incident that is reoccurring, that happens randomly, happened 3 times yesterday.
Yeah.
Could happen any number of times throughout the day. Sometimes it doesn't even happen. Like last week, it didn't happen while I was working. And it fills me with anxiety having to deal with it when it does happen on my shift.
And I mean, I think that the anxiety that you have, I definitely understand it, because when you're in a new job, in a new position that is very like, high profile in a sense, because you are dealing with a lot of moving parts and a lot of people and, higher ups looking, it causes stress, because you want to do well and you want to make sure that, they're not causing problems and you're not creating any issues. But I think you just got to let yourself have this new, accept the unknown.
Yes.
And appreciate that, like, you're learning and you're growing, and everything that you're going to be doing is going to be for your betterment.
Yes.
And you don't have to put so much stress on yourself.
Well,
because you're doing the best that you can.
I am doing the best that I can. Also, it like there's other aspects that are kind of weighing on me a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. Like I'm sure that they will unfold in a good way in the long term as time goes on, but everything otherwise is very good. How are things on your end?
Well, I'm
How's your mental?
Pretty depressed.
Yes, you are.
I
think I told you that.
You did tell me. If you hadn't told me that,
like, yo, you are depressed.
You had not told me that, I would not know. that is not a skill set that I have because
recognizing depression. No, that's real.
Well,
like it took me a while. It took me a long time through therapy to like see the signs of depression within me. And sometimes like there are like general signs that depression takes form in, and then there are certain signs that are unique to the individual who experiences the depression. I only went off of like the general signs that you were explaining to me, and I'm just like, yeah, that's depression.
Well,
that's depression.
I think the thing for me is that I have been chronically depressed since I was a child. But one, I think that the way that my depression manifests itself is more internal than it is external. So that like I could be extremely depressed, but I'm still going to be the same like jovial, fun person that I am, and maybe still want to like, possibly go out and see people or spend time with my friends or whatever. But that doesn't mean that internally, I don't feel like curling up in a ball and sleeping.
Yeah, it's called masking.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that I am constantly at this point unlearning how to mask and trying to relearn my actual feelings and wants and needs. Because if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sleeping every day for all this time and I'm having all these anxiety spirals in my head about what's going on, and it's making it causes me to feel immobilized,
not to mention insomnia.
And at this point not even all of the sleep meds that I usually take and work has not been doing anything for me.
I had a suggestion, and you could take this or leave this. But I used to, when I went through like my manic phases, it caused me to have insomnia too. What I found, it not necessarily helpful, but I found that if I'm going to have insomnia, I might as well use it to my benefit. And when I experienced the insomnia and I couldn't sleep, after trying to go to sleep and using several methods and it not working, I would just take that time to like, if I'm going to be awake, then I might as well be productive or in some way, shape or form. Like I don't know what that form would take for you, but that's just a suggestion.
I think that I've been thinking of ways that I could possibly do that. Maybe like, because I know that like when the times when I have insomnia, my brain is very tired. So like I couldn't do something like necessarily like working or whatever because I can't think correctly, but maybe I could try reading or if I have enough energy in my body to like, I don't know, tidy up something. I don't know. Like I think it's
putter. You can putter around the fucking house.
But it's like the way that I feel like when at night I'll be so exhausted and I feel like there is a weighted blanket over me and I'm just slogging around and like the only thing I could do is lay there and like watch TV or something, and I feel so incapable of doing anything else. But I am working on it. I am taking my meds and I'm trying my best to remember to take them every day. I'm frustrated because I wish that the meds were working faster, but you cannot rush progress.
No, you cannot.
You have to just see how it goes and continue pushing forward and being patient. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be patient with the medication and with therapy and allow myself a moment of rest and see how I can move through my days in a way that makes sense for me and not putting a lot of pressure on myself, which will then just create more anxiety and overwhelm, and then nothing will happen.
Yeah, it's just like that song says, you can't hurry, love. No, you just have to wait.
Yes.
That might be the title of this episode. You can't hurry, comma, love.
You just have to wait, or no?
No,
You
no,
can't
just
hurry,
you
love?
can't. No, you can't hurry, comma, love. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yes.
spell the comma.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Also, on your note that, may you please put some more Tito's in there?
Sure. Give me a moment.
you.
Well, how about you tell us a little bit about the story while I freshen up your drink?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So one story that came out this week, which has had my timeline in shambles and my group chats in shambles, is this is a content warning for murder, for unaliving, for child harm and self-harm. It's a very sad story. This woman, Danielle Johnson.
Do you want me to do the warning drop?
Sure, you can.
Okay. Sorry.
Are you going to put that in there now, or?
Yeah.
Warning.
Okay.
There.
So Danielle Johnson, who was also known as Danielle Aoka on Twitter, and she was an astrologer who I have been following online since maybe 2015, 2016. I actually found out about her because she was on an episode of the Friend Zone podcast that I really like. And they were talking, she had been in Essence, I think, like BuzzFeed and all these, thank you, all these other, news media outlets, talking about astrology, etc. And, I thought that she was a very talented and smart astrologer, and she gave a lot of great insights. And so I had been following for her for years. And I want to say a few years ago, maybe like around 2019, 2020, I unfollowed her because I just noticed that she was delving into like faux teppery and conspiracy theories and being problematic about various things, like there was some homophobia and transphobia and just like some shenanigans that I just didn't sit right in my spirit for someone who, to me, is supposed to be someone who's joining the collective together, not like breaking us apart.
Sure.
And so this last week, I believe it was on like April 11th, she stabbed her partner, who was his name was Jalen Chaney, and she drove off with her children, a 9-year-old and an 8-month-old. And as she was driving, she threw the 9-year-old and 8-month-old out the vehicle.
Jesus.
The baby died, unfortunately, and the 9-year-old survived, but the Danielle drove her car and crashed into a tree and died herself.
This is now. That's a terrible thing that happened. That is awful. That is straight up awful.
I told you she was involved in a murder-suicide.
Yes, you did. You did warn me. So continue.
And so there have been two lines of thought on Twitter. Some people were talking about it spiritual psychosis, and others are just talking about her mental health. This child, the baby, was only 8 months old, so it's very possible that she was dealing with postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. But I think this situation brings up a very important piece when it comes to dealing with mental health, especially people who are influencers. There's like, she had like 100,000 followers on social media, and even though she had, in the last few weeks up to the eclipse, she had been talking about like spreading a lot of conspiracy theories, talking about the eclipse was the apocalypse, and no one was on her page like, hey, do you need any help? Are you okay? Everyone was just kind of eating it up. And I think that we have to have a conversation about how we do a disservice to people with these large followings because nobody is interrogating them about like, are you okay? What's going on? It's just like, you have thousands of followers, so we're just going to let you be, and not kind of paying attention to whether or not there are signs that could show us that they are in need of help.
Right.
But I mean, it's a terrible loss. It was a terrible situation. So many people have been impacted by this because a lot of folks, knew her personally or were, impacted by her. And I mean, it's terrible. Regardless how problematic she may have been or anything negative she may have done to people over the years, she was still a person, and these, the two other people that were killed, their lives are going to be completely missed. And this 9-year-old has no mother or family around to support her. And so I'm just hoping that she is getting all of the necessary help and support that she needs, because this is going to be a lifelong issue that she's going to have to be able to work through and get past.
Right. This is all very dark. I don't have anything to comment on. I it's fucked up.
I mean, it's a fucked up story.
It's a very fucked up story. I agree with you.
Well, it's a mental health can be fucked up sometimes.
Sure.
And it's not something that we can control, but we can't ignore it either.
Okay.
All right, well, we can move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you want to go? We
go where we always go. The things that were pissing us off this week.
I actually don't think we have enough time for that. Let's just probably do the thing that made us happy. Sort of get us out of this cloud that is.
All right.
That is here. Okay. It's been so long. I don't even remember what the. There we go.
I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give up, baby, much just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
It also feels very inappropriate now to have that story and then have the Baby Merchant fucking song.
You're not wrong. That was an unforeseen
so what's making you happy this week?
Situation. Well, we went to the Brooklyn Museum for Dad's birthday, and we got to see the Giant exhibit.
Yes.
From Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats.
Showtime.
That was amazing. I got to meet. So I met Iman, and she talked to me. Mm-hmm. Iman, the famed and iconic model who was married to David Bowie.
Yes.
She looked gorgeous, and I was just happy to bask in her glow.
Yeah, and you didn't fan out in an inappropriate way like a lot of people would have. No. Like, I'm glad you had some decorum about you.
Yeah, if I was gonna say anything to her, it would have been like, I love your work, and then just continue moving on. Like, I'm not trying to like bother folks. Yes. She already has enough people gathering around her at any given moment.
Agreed. So yeah, and the other Black woman who noticed as well also didn't.
But we were kindred spirits in our excitement.
Yes.
And wanting to meet her, but we both tampered our feels so that we wouldn't cause a scene.
Of course.
Also, just having your dad came. We got to have a great dinner. Two great dinners, and spending time with them. That was really fun. Mm-hmm. And then some good news that I saw, which warmed my little baby gymnast heart. Morgan Price from Fisk, it has won a national title in gymnastics, the United States Gymnastics Collegiate National Title. The first Fisk is the first HBCU to win this title. So I'm very excited. I was a gymnast when I was younger, and I would.
Well, you were a tumbler, right?
More than just a tumbler. I did the balance beam.
Is that true at all?
Bars.
You did
Why would I be saying it if it wasn't?
You did the balance beam and the what bars?
The uneven bars.
What are the uneven bars?
They're the 2 bars where you jump from one to the other.
Oh, wait, you did that?
Yes, I did that.
Okay, you just never told me that. That's all. You told me that you were a tumbler.
I mean, I did tumbles, yes, but I did more than that.
That's it.
You start off as a tumbler.
But that's all you ever said. All you ever said was that you did gymnastics, you tumbled.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it is. Okay. Now I'm finding out that you did uneven bars, and monkey bars, and the balance beam, and fucking ribbons and shit.
I also did the
fucking
horse.
Stevie Wonder ribbons in the sky for our love.
A floor routine.
Is that what the ribbons are?
Yeah, it's like, when they're on the floor doing that.
Yeah, I always thought that was a cool aspect of gymnastics. Like
just sitting around there, going like this, tumbling. It's very fun. Like
oh my goodness! Player. Imagine if there is I don't know the sport of ribbon twirling. I don't even know if it's called ribbon twirling, but whoever is black and is ribbon twirling in the Olympics, do it to Cowboy Carter.
Funny enough, I just saw this Instagram. It was a bunch of black twirlers, which I believe they call themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, of course I'm a black twirler. I can do whatever. And they're like doing that whole like TikTok thing that's been going around. And it was very cute. There was so many of them. And I was like, wow, I did not know there were so many black twirlers, but I love it. And I want to see more of it. But I'm very happy for her. She's so cute. And I know that there's so many other little black girls who are looking up to her, and I can't wait to, follow in her footsteps. So that made me happy. What
Wait, you can't wait to follow him?
They can't wait to follow him.
Oh, it sounds like you said you can.
Yes, I'm gonna go to Fisk. I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna join there.
Yeah, you're gonna tumble again.
I'm gonna be
and do more balance beaming.
Yeah.
Shout out to tumblers. And also shout out to Tumblr, the website, the blog that I used to have, and the characters that I used to make for my old podcast. Anyhow, as far as me, what made me happy this week, obviously doing this podcast, getting back on a regular schedule of doing this podcast, because this is one of my outlets and my highlights, and one of the things that makes me like extremely happy to do is podcasting with you.
Same.
In addition to that, I also enjoyed my dad being up here and seeing my dad. Now, I do lament a little bit that I didn't get a chance to spend more one-on-one time with him, but I will rectify that by going down to Baltimore in the next coming months or so.
Yeah.
And I'll hang out with him then, and I'll play Risk, and I'll beat him. But
always July 4th.
Yeah, and just not experiencing any major incidents at work this week was also a highlight. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. How you feeling about going in for the close?
Well, before we close, I just want to say rest in peace to the artist Faith Ringgold, who was a pioneering Black artist. She was 93 years old, so lived a very long, beautiful life.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Get the fuck out of here.
Aria's trying to be a part of the podcast.
No. All right.
But she did so much great work in the art community, and please go and find some of her work. She did quilting, painting, textiles, storytelling, and her work was really just iconic. And so we appreciate all of the Black people and artists who came before us, because they made it possible for us to be here doing what we're doing today. So
yeah, agreed.
That's it for me.
That's it for us. All right. And with that being said, Take it easy. Keep it sleazy. We will see you next time with more of the Black and Sturdy podcast.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snurdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snurdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorice is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's ThatsOD, and on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Sturdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather rock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.